They said you wouldn't make it. They said you were too slow, too quiet, too average, too broke, too late. They looked at your situation and made a decision about your future without knowing your heart, your discipline, your vision. And the worst part, some of them weren't strangers. They were friends, family, teachers, people who should have believed in you, but didn't. They didn't just doubt you, they dismissed you. And you started to wonder if maybe they were right. Maybe you weren't built for more. Maybe you should settle. Maybe this dream is too far, too big, too much. But listen to me carefully. They don't get to write the end of your story. They don't get to define your limits. And they sure as hell don't get to decide what you're capable of. Because they didn't create you. See, here's the truth they don't want to admit. Most people who doubt you are really talking to themselves. They're projecting their fears onto your future. They don't believe in you because they've never believed in themselves. And if you rise, if you make it, if you prove them wrong, that means they were wrong to settle. And they can't handle that. So this speech, this moment, this isn't about revenge. This isn't about getting even. This is about becoming undeniable. This is about locking in so hard that failure can't find you. It's about falling in love with the process so deep that the outcome becomes inevitable. It's about turning every you can't into fuel for watch me. And you're not going to scream about it. You're not going to post about it. You're not going to throw it in anybody's face. You're going to move in silence. You're going to build in the dark. And when the world least expects it, you're going to rise. Because the most dangerous person in the room isn't the loudest. It's the one who was doubted, counted out, disrespected, and kept going anyway. No spotlight, no validation, just fire in their gut and vision in their soul. So if they've ever told you you won't make it, if they've ever laughed at your goals, if they've ever written you off, good, let that sit in your chest. Not as pain, but as purpose. Because now it's your time. Now it's your turn. Now you get to look back one day, not with bitterness, but with quiet victory. The kind that doesn't need to say a word, because your success will do the talking. Let's get to work. Let's prove them all wrong. They laughed. They rolled their eyes when you spoke your dream out loud. They smirked when you told them where you were headed. They gave you that look, the one that says come on now. Not because they're cruel, but because they couldn't see it. And that's the thing about vision. It's not for them. It was given to you. What they don't know is that you saw it clear as day. You saw yourself walking across that stage, opening that business, turning the key to that house, living the life you were told people like you could never have. You saw the version of you that hasn't even shown up yet. The version that's buried under sacrifice, under struggle, under silence, just waiting to rise. But when you tried to share it, they didn't understand. They couldn't, because vision is spiritual. It's internal. It's personal. And most people only believe what they can touch. If it's not visible, if it's not proven, if it's not already done, they call it unrealistic. They say, be practical. They say, get a backup plan. They say, don't get your hopes up, but they're wrong, because hope is what got you here, and vision is what will take you the rest of the way. Let me tell you something about people who laugh at dreams. They're just uncomfortable with your courage, because deep down they had a dream once too, but they buried it under fear, under comfort, under mediocrity. And now your ambition makes them uncomfortable, not because of what you've done, but because of what you remind them of. So they laugh, they doubt, they mock, but that's okay. Because here's the truth. They don't need to see it, you do. They don't need to understand the process. You just need to honor it. They don't have to believe in your future. You just have to keep walking toward it like it's already yours. You want to know something powerful? Every person who ever did something legendary got laughed at. The Wright brothers were laughed at. Steve Jobs was laughed at. Oprah, Elon Musk, Walt Disney, Muhammad Ali, they were all told that'll never work. But the thing is, the people who laughed, they're not in the history books. The ones who believed in the invisible and built it anyway, they're the reason the world changed. So don't waste your breath trying to convince anyone. Don't dilute your dream so it fits into their small thinking. Don't throw away your calling just because it makes someone else uncomfortable. Let them laugh. Let them talk. Let them watch. Because when it's all said and done, you're not here to be understood. You're here to build, to rise, to create, to walk in your assignment like it's already done. That vision in your head, it's real. You've seen it. You've dreamed it, or you've cried over it. Now it's time to become it. And when you do, when the laughter turns to silence, when the smirks turn into stares, when the doubters have no choice but to say, wow, they really did it. You won't even need to say, I told you so, because the results will speak for themselves. Keep going, keep building, keep believing, because they don't have to see it. You do. Let's get something straight right now. You don't owe anybody an explanation. Not for your dream, not for your discipline, not for your silence, not for why you don't go out like you used to, why you stopped calling, why you've been locked in, focused, low-key, and unbothered. Because explanations drain energy. They pull you out of purpose. And half the time, you're explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you anyway. You don't need to justify your grind. You need to execute it. You don't need to prove your passion through words. You prove it through results. See, everybody talks big. Everybody's got a plan. Everybody's got ideas, strategies, and just wait till I drop this energy. But execution, that's different. Execution is cold. It's quiet. It doesn't post. It doesn't ask for permission. It just shows up again and again. Let me ask you something. When was the last time success asked you to explain yourself? It didn't, because success is the answer. You want to silence doubt? Execute. You want to quiet the critics? Execute. You want to get back at the ones who counted you out, talked behind your back, laughed at your ambition? Don't talk. Don't tweet. Just execute. There's a reason the world doesn't take most people seriously, because they keep making announcements, but never deliver outcomes. They keep talking about what they're going to do, but don't follow through on what they said they would do. Eventually, people stop listening. Eventually, even you stop believing yourself. Because when your words don't line up with your actions, your confidence suffers. But when your actions match your vision, that's when the game changes. That's when you don't need to say a thing. Because people feel it when you walk in the room. They feel the discipline, the energy, the mindset, the focus. That's what happens when you stop explaining and start executing. Now, I know it's tempting. It's tempting to tell people what you're working on, to share the dream, the next step, the master plan. But listen, not everything needs to be broadcast. Not everyone deserves access to your process. Some things are meant to be built in silence. Some moves only work when nobody knows they're coming. Because when you keep it quiet, you protect it. You let the results do the speaking. And trust me, results don't lie. You can fake motivation. You can fake hype. But you can't fake a body that's been trained. You can't fake a business that's been built. You can't fake growth that came from pain, struggle, silence, and execution. And when you've put in the work, you won't need to explain why you've changed, why you're different, why your circle's smaller, why your energy is sharper, why you don't respond like you used to. They'll know. Because your discipline will speak. Your life will speak. Your results will shout what your words never needed to say. So stop explaining. Stop seeking validation from people who wouldn't recognize greatness if it sat in front of them. Lock in. Show up. Do the work. Execute. Because at the end of the day, the scoreboard doesn't care what you said. It only reflects what you did. You didn't get the job. They ghosted you. The application was denied. They passed you over. They laughed behind your back. They told you you're not ready. You're not good enough. Maybe next time. And it hurt. It stung more than you wanted to admit. Because you knew what you had inside you. You believed in it, but the door slammed shut anyway. And in that moment, rejection felt like the end, but it wasn't. It never is. Because what you thought was rejection was actually redirection, a divine detour, a sacred pause, a necessary reroute to put you exactly where you're meant to be. But you couldn't see it right away, because pain clouds vision. Frustration makes you question the calling. And when it feels like everyone is saying no, it's easy to believe you're not supposed to do it. But let me tell you something real. The no isn't always a stop sign. Sometimes it's a steering wheel. That closed door wasn't the end of the story, it was the start of a better one. But you had to be removed from where you thought you should be, so you could grow into who you're meant to become. Rejection has a way of stripping away the fluff. It forces you to get serious. It shakes your comfort zone. It tells you either you're going to quit here or you're going to rise with more focus than ever before. Every time someone counted you out, every time you were overlooked, every time they said, not this time, you were being built. Your patience was being stretched. Your character was being tested, and your purpose was being protected. You think all those no's were punishment? No, they were preparation, because some places weren't ready for your gift. Some stages were too small for your calling. Some rooms couldn't handle your fire. So the rejection wasn't to hurt you, it was to humble you, to teach you how to show up, even when it doesn't feel good, to teach you how to sharpen your skill when no one is clapping, to teach you how to stay focused when the applause is gone. That's where your power gets built, not in the wins, but in the no's, in the lonely seasons, in the moments when quitting seemed easier than trusting the process. You want to know who becomes great? Not the people who never got rejected, but the ones who did again and again and kept going anyway. Because while rejection may feel like loss, it's actually a filter, a way of asking, do you want this bad enough to be told no 10 times and still believe it's yes? That's the kind of grit rejection builds. And when you finally walk through the right door, you won't be bitter, you'll be better. Because you'll realize every detour led you here. Every no was just making room for a greater yes. So if they turn you down again, smile, say thank you, and get back to work. Because you're not chasing their approval. You're chasing your assignment. And nothing they say or don't say can cancel that. Rejection isn't your end. It's the evidence that your journey is divinely rerouted, not to stop you, but to put you exactly where you were always meant to rise. They won't see the early mornings. They won't see the nights when you wanted to give up, but didn't. They won't see the tears, the self-doubt, the sacrifices that didn't make the feed. Because the real work, the work that changes you, that happens in silence. When no one's clapping, when no one's validating, when it's just you, your goal, and your grind. You see, the mistake most people make is chasing the moment before they build the muscle. They want to shine before they've been shaped. They want the glory without the grind. But here's the truth. Greatness is grown in the dark. Roots grow before fruit shows. The strongest trees take the longest to rise because their foundation runs deep. And that's exactly what your grind is doing right now. It's digging. It's stretching. It's developing something so strong that when you finally rise, you won't just perform, you'll last. You're not behind. You're not losing. You're building. And the silence you feel, that's not punishment. That's your proving ground. Because when you grind in silence, two things happen. We learn to depend on discipline, not applause. You stop chasing people's reactions and start chasing your own standard. You start waking up not because someone's watching, but because you made a decision. That's when you become unstoppable. Because now you're not moved by validation, you're moved by vision. Two, you catch everyone off guard. See, while they're posting about progress, you're creating it. While they're talking about goals, you're executing them. While they're asking, where have you been? You're about to show up with a version of yourself they've never seen before. And when you rise in public, it's too late for them to stop it because the work's already done. The foundation's already poured. The habits are locked in. The mindset is bulletproof. People love the moment you win. They love the highlight. But they forget that the real magic happened long before that. In the silence, in the grind, in the decisions no one saw you make. To stay in, to show up, to keep going when it would have been easier to quit. That's what separates the real from the loud. Because noise isn't power. Consistency is. And when you keep showing up, when you keep building, when you keep grinding with no need for applause, you become dangerous. You become undeniable. And when your moment comes, it won't be luck. It won't be hype. It'll be the result of everything you did when no one was watching. So keep going, keep building, keep your head down and your spirit up. Because you don't need to prove yourself in words. You're going to do it in results. You're going to do it in execution. You're going to do it in transformation. Grind in silence. And when you rise, they'll have no choice but to notice. Not because you said it, but because you became it. You want to get back at them? The ones who laughed, the ones who doubted you, betrayed you, dismissed you like you were nothing. You want to clap back, prove a point, let them know who you really are. Don't post, don't argue, don't explain, just because the best revenge, it's not petty, it's not loud, it's not dramatic. The best revenge is becoming everything they said you'd never be without ever saying a word. See, success has a way of shutting people up. Real success, quiet success. Not just cars and clothes and hashtags, but peace, purpose, confidence, excellence, discipline, impact. When you start living at a level they didn't even think was possible for you, that's the kind of revenge they can't ignore. Because now they don't just see the result, they feel the distance between the version of you they mocked and the one that showed up anyway. Let them talk. Let them speculate. Let them run their mouths while you run your mission. You don't need to remind them what they said about you. They remember. They remember every time they rolled their eyes, every time they brushed you off, every time they whispered they'll never make it. And when you rise, when they see your face in the places they told you you'd never reach, they'll feel that silence. That silence is respect. That silence is regret. That silence is the sound of someone who watched you go from counted out to unstoppable. Because the truth is, people rarely apologize for doubting you. They just act confused when you prove them wrong. But don't do it for them. Do it for the younger version of you. The version who was scared. The version who cried in secret. The version who questioned everything but still showed up. Still worked. Still believed. They didn't know what was inside you. They couldn't see what God planted in you. They only saw what was on the surface, but you knew better. You felt it. Even when you didn't have proof, you had fire. And now it's your turn to let the fire speak. There's no need to gloat. You don't need to return the hate. You don't need to match their energy. You've got higher places to be, and you don't get there by fighting small battles. You get there by staying locked in on the mission. Because here's what they don't tell you. The higher you go, the quieter it gets. Success has a language, and it sounds a lot like silence and results. So let your health speak. Let your wealth speak. Let your peace speak. Let your self-respect speak. Let your discipline speak. Let your evolution speak. Don't get even. Level up. Because nothing messes with someone's head like watching the person they underestimated win over and over and over again. No need for revenge when your legacy does the talking. And if you stay focused, if you keep grinding, keep believing, keep walking in your truth, there will come a day when the ones who counted you out will try to count you in. But by then, you'll be too far ahead to hear the noise. You'll be walking in rooms their imagination was too small to picture you in. So smile, not out of spite, but out of knowing that the version of you they doubted was just the draft. The real one, that's the final copy, and it's unignorable. They told you what you couldn't be. They made their little jokes. They whispered behind your back. They said you were crazy to even try. Good. Let them talk. Let them think you're average. Let them believe the version of you they created in their head, because they have no idea what's coming. They don't know about the hours you've been putting in behind closed doors. They don't see the internal battles you've already won just to stay in the fight. They don't see the fire that refuses to die, even when it flickers in the dark. But you do. You know, you feel it. And that's enough. You don't need a round of applause. You don't need a stage. You don't need their support, their likes, or their approval. You need a mirror. You need a decision. And you need discipline. Because you're not just trying to win. You're trying to become, and when you become that version of yourself, the one who didn't fold, didn't flinch, didn't fade away, that's the moment you prove them all wrong. Not with words, with presence, with peace, with power. So here's the charge. Let them doubt. Let them label you. Let them bet against you. Just don't bet against yourself. Get up. Show up. Keep your head down and your vision locked in. Stop announcing. Start executing. Stop talking. Start transforming. You want to shut the world up? Win. You want to get revenge? Rise. You want to leave a legacy? Stay dangerous in your discipline. Because when it's all said and done, you won't need to say a thing. Your life will speak loud enough for generations. Go prove them all wrong. And when you do, don't look back.